In my Python Basics course, I ask students what was your biggest question before you started the course. Now, some of these questions you may recognize, and to show you that you are not alone, I will tell you the 5 most asked questions and give you the answer. The first question is: can I learn programming even when I never had anything to do with it and my math skills are not that great? You bet! When I started programming, home computers were just starting to become a thing. My first computer had a manual that included code listings that you could type over to see what they do. Here is an example. Now, without understanding a single word, I typed it in and pretty soon I learned what all these commands do. And as far as my math skills? Well, let's just say I was not very good at it. So, no, you don't need prior experience, and without math skills you can get quite far. So the trick is just to start. But with all the available information, where do you start? Well, that reminds me a lot of learning how to play guitar. There are millions of songs to start with, all in different genres and difficulty levels. The only way to start is to get a guitar, pick a song and get going. And even if you manage to play only the first bars of your favorite song, you already have learned something. With programming, it is the same. Just start a code editor and type in your first line of code. If you can get the computer to say "Hello World", you have made your first step into the world of programming. But that requires some preparation, which brings me to question number 2. How do I start on my computer? What programs do I need? Regardless of the programming language you start with, you will always need at least 2 things. First, you need to install the programming language. This is usually done by going to the programming language website, in this case Python. I click Download and click the latest version to download and install it. When it is installed, you won't see any difference on your computer. Most programming languages do not come with a graphical user interface where you can type your code. For this you need a second thing, a code editor. This is the place where you actually type the code. There are many different code editors to choose from, and this one is called Visual Studio Code. I have another video where I explain why it is a good editor to start with and how to install it on your computer. In the code editor, you create a file with a name that ends with .py. This file is called a script. Then you type some code, click this button and the result will appear in this box. In the background, Python took your script, executed it and showed the result. Question number 3. How can something so complex be learned in a short time? The answer is, it cannot. And for some beginners, this is a reality check. You can learn programming basics in a few days, but your first mobile app or website is not in sight yet. You have to feel comfortable with not understanding everything all at once. But you have to believe me that it will work anyway. Without understanding the full picture, you will be able to write meaningful programs. I know because I did that for years. Some concepts just take time to learn. Remind yourself that you learned the most interesting things in life that way. Walking, talking, riding a bike. Your programs and code will grow with you and your skills. Question number 4. Why Python and not another language? Even if students already chose my Python course, they still want to know what it is that is so great about Python. First of all, after JavaScript and HTML, Python is the biggest language in the world. If you are looking for a career investment, you cannot go wrong with this language. You will find Python in many areas like server and web development. One of the reasons Python became so popular is the support for external libraries for data science and artificial intelligence. Many universities choose Python to teach their students. Because Python is loosely based on the English language, it is much easier to learn than many other programming languages. The last question is what to do when things go wrong. Some people already have started with programming but ran into problems. They got stuck and stopped learning. Fixing problems is a big part of our work, and over time you learn where to find the clues that lead to the solution. For example, the terminal will show you error messages. Even if you do not understand the problem, you can search for the error online. You will quickly run into a site called Stack Overflow. This is a database with questions and answers, including example code. But there is one thing you should know about searching for answers and code online. Developers can get very religious about what they do, and a single question might have 10 different answers. Now, it can be hard to pick the right one, and in the beginning you will just have to trust the accepted answer. After a while, you understand that a problem usually has more than a single solution and feel more confident to experiment with different solutions. Now, what happens if you are following a tutorial and things go wrong? Tutorials describe things step by step. If things do not work, it usually means that your code is not exactly the same as in the example. Comparing code is academic work which you have to do by yourself. If you can't find the problem, the best advice I can give you is to archive your work and just start over. Even if this sounds counterproductive, you will find that the second or even a third time you are going much faster because of the routine you developed. You also get a much better idea how changes to the code affect the result you see on the screen. Now, after all this talk about what it means to start with a programming language, why don't you try it out? Click on the screen for a free chapter of my Python for Beginners course, and we'll see each other in the next video.